Ladies and gentlemen, in a matter of days, the Manchester United transfer window could very well come to an end. And one of two things could potentially happen. Manchester United's transfer wishes and dreams will come true in the dying minutes to days of the transfer deadline, or we could be seeking for desperate signings to fill in the voids that will ultimately never be filled. At the end of the day, Manchester United are looking at a bunch of targets till this day, and let's see exactly what is going to happen, man. We've got a lot to talk about. This is the last video for the transfers that I will do until someone officially signs. Let's get on to the transfer news, and let's do it right now. Let's get it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show. Welcome back to another video. This video is going to be the last Manchester United transfer update video I will do in this transfer window until someone has officially signed or we get the here we go from Fabrizio Romano. There's been so much talk about alternatives, about Jadon Sancho, about players going out, about loan deals for strikers. We have a lot to discuss in this video. This could potentially be a very long video, but when reality sets, we've been linked to a bunch of players, and some of these players could be the right or could be definitely the wrong move for Manchester United. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers. Hopefully you guys will join in on this community of the Aidan Sports Show and help it grow to be a very long, prospering community that will last until the end of time, I would hope. But reality is, Manchester United have a lot of decisions to make and have a lot of people to satisfy. And at the end of the day, no one will be pleased with this transfer window. Whether we get the players or where we don't get the players, a lot of people have already said that this transfer window has been a disaster. And I will speak more about that at the end of the video, but I want to get into some of the things to talk about. So if you've seen one of these videos, you know exactly what it's going to be like. But if you haven't, let's get to the very first candidate. Now, it's not a transfer video for Manchester United if you don't talk about Jadon Sancho. Still, so much is up in the air about Jadon Sancho. From what I understand of the situation, there is two sides of the story that is being told from very credible sources as well. First source is relatively Sky Sports, but at the end of the day, Sky Sports have been very inconsistent with the way that they try to handle this story. You have a bunch of people saying that it's not going to happen, and then you have Sky Sports coming out and saying that they're putting in bids. So at the moment, that's the first story. If you choose to believe that, then there we go. That's the very first story. Jadon Sancho bids coming in from Manchester United, and all of them have been rejected at this time. The second story is that Manchester United have walked away from Jadon Sancho and have decided to go into alternatives. Now, I'll discuss those alternatives later because there are a few things that do get on my nerve with these alternatives. But relatively, Jadon Sancho is still up in the air. You have the 50-50 split on what you want to believe. Do you want to believe Jadon Sancho is coming to Manchester United, or do you want to believe that Manchester United are not willing to pay the money? At the end of the day, a lot of people have chosen their sides, and I'm stuck here in the middle. I don't want to go 50%. I don't want to go 100% into Jadon Sancho's coming, and I don't want to go into 100% that Jadon Sancho's not coming. At the end of the day, I don't want to make that kind of choice because relatively, whatever happens, I'm still going to end up heartbroken if it doesn't happen. So I'm going to stay on the neutral side, and that's where my loyalty lies at the moment. There's just too much going on both sides to make me believe that it is and it isn't happening. But every day that goes by is another day that he's not here, and that makes me a lot more stressed. So in reality, Jadon Sancho, the sooner we get him in, the better. But reality could be that he just isn't coming, and that is the sad part. So let's see what happens. Now let's talk about someone that's actually left the club, and his name is Andreas Pereira. I haven't made a video about him yet, but he has officially left the club on loan to Lazio with an option to buy for 27 million. I think this is a little bit of a good business for Manchester United. I know people are not going to discuss this, but Andreas Pereira in Italy and I believe in Spain, he's been on loan before, and he's done very well in both countries. And I think the slower paced game of Italy might very well suit Andreas Pereira, and I think he will do very well well at Lazio, and I wish him all the best. But the option to buy here is something that could be very, very interesting. If Lazio decides to pull the trigger on Andreas Pereira and purchase him for 27 million, then I think Manchester United have done a great deal there. At the end of the day, it's still taken so long for a player like Andreas Pereira to leave. We all knew that he was one of those targets that Manchester United were looking to ship off, and the fact that they left it this late is piss poor. But at the end of the day, it has happened, and maybe if they do purchase Andreas Pereira, then we could get a little bit of money into this club to spend next year or beyond. We're going to have to wait and see, but I really did enjoy seeing Andreas Pereira leave, not because I don't think he's a good player, but I just don't think he suits the Manchester United style of play at the moment, and we're going to have to see if he can build up his career elsewhere. And of course, Manchester United fans will support our players no matter where they go. If they're Manchester United players or not, I'm going to support Andreas Pereira, and hopefully he has a fantastic career. Chris Smalling is another one that needs to be talked about. Of course, he's still at Manchester United, but it looks like Roma are still very intrigued in signing Chris Smalling this transfer window. Now, it's very, very little time left, and it looks like they're going to give an official bid of around 15 to 18 million that could end up going up to 20 million. Now, Manchester United, that's basically what they are. So, the fact if they decline this deal, then I really don't know what Manchester United's playing at. I don't exactly exactly do they expect Chris Smalling is going to be worth. That's the big question here. Manchester United have stuck by their word to say they will sell Chris Smalling for around 18-ish million, and it looks like that's what Roma is going to bid. So if they don't accept that deal, then Manchester United have just had an absolute brain fart, and it comes to show that their transfer knowledge is extremely lackluster. So hopefully this deal gets done as well. I really rate Chris Smalling. Hell, if he was starting for Manchester United, I think all of us would be very satisfied. But at the end of the day, he is not someone that's part of our plans, and he does need to get moved on. And I do think Roma is the team for him. Played so well for them last season. Let him end his career, or let him continue his career in a place where he feels welcomed and loved. And unfortunately, that's not Manchester United at the moment. A lot of people do love the guy and do welcome the guy, but this is not the final team he should be playing for. Now, when everybody's talking about Jadon Sancho, a lot of people seem to neglect the other signing that Manchester United are very, very close to doing, and his name is Alex Telles. Now, of course, there is a bit of issue of the fee. Manchester United believe that they could get Alex Telles for lower due to the contract that Alex Telles is currently on, 1 year left, and Alex Telles could very well go for free in next summer if Manchester United do decide to wait. But they're willing to offer 10 million to Porto for Alex Telles, and reality is Porto are not looking to budge. But at the end of the day, they don't really have much of a say in this. Either they take the 10 million and run, or Alex Telles will leave in next year. And I don't see Porto keeping a hold of Alex Telles. The guy will be 28, 29 years old, and he needs to be looking for the next step of his career if he's ever going to get there. And I do think Manchester United is a very good step up from Porto, and we're going to have to wait and see exactly what his mentality is, Alex Telles. Will he try to take the next step up, or will he decide to stay at Porto for the rest of his career? Manchester United are knocking on the door. Porto are weakening in their stance. Alex Telles needs to force this, and let's see exactly if Manchester United will be able to get Alex Telles in a Manchester United shirt. Another player that looks like he's on the out for the moment is Diogo Dalot. Now, of course, this has been relatively recent, so there's not much information on the matter, but the fact is that AC Milan are looking to loan Diogo Dalot. Now, the thing is here, there is no buyback clause according to my knowledge, and there is no option to buy. So, it looks like Diogo Dalot could just very well be leaving for this season alone. If Diogo Dalot has a fantastic season in AC Milan, they could get a lot of money out of him. Putting him with no option to buy, in my opinion, is a drastic, incorrect decision. And we all know Diogo Dalot needs to leave at the moment. He just doesn't have a place at Manchester United, even though he's extremely talented. It just is not the right fit. So what's the point in keeping a player here next season when he does come back if we're just going to keep loaning him out every year? let's just get the money, let's get the fees, and let's try and see if we can create something right now instead of waiting for a year just to see if it would be good enough or not. And maybe AC Milan will drop their stance and not buy him back next season. So it's a poor decision in my opinion. I understand he needs to leave, and I respect that fact of the matter. He does need to go, but the option to buy not being there is a big mistake in my opinion. One of the first Jadon Sancho alternatives I wanted to talk about is Ismaila Sarr from Watford. Now, this player, in my opinion, is a very, very good player. He's going to be going around 40 million, which is a bit of a hefty price for someone that just got relegated in the Championship, despite having a very good season for Watford. Now, it comes to my attention that Watford are desperately trying to get rid of this player, looking for clubs trying to sell, and even in the end, I heard a story that it could go up to 60 to 70 million to sign Sarr, which I personally do not believe. But at the end of the day, Manchester United could potentially be looking for that alternative. At the end of the day, this is something that, although the player, in my opinion, is good and he would do good for Manchester United, and there's no denying that the guy has talent. We've seen it on the end in the Premier League last season. A lot of people have watched and seen Sarr play and know that he's a good player. But at the end of the day, this is basically a cop-out for not being able to get the big deal done. And we're going to be desperate and go and spend a little bit less money on a player that arguably is not really worth 40 million. So let's be honest here. If Manchester United get a Sarr, then this is basically just we couldn't get it done. We simply could not get it done. We've walked away from the deal because we can't spend that money. And a lot of people will take that in different ways. A lot of people will say, well, Sarr is a good replacement. A lot of people will say that Manchester United suck at transfers, which they do. But I don't know how people are going to react to Sarr. And I don't think it's his fault. But I definitely think he's going to be someone that's going to be hated here because the board decided to go for a cheaper option. And he's going to be in the crossfire when he shouldn't be there. So I feel sorry for Sarr if he does end up coming to Manchester United. Maybe down the line I can see this deal happening, but this is not the right time, and this is definitely not the right place at the moment for Sarr. I think he should stay at Watford or maybe try and get a loan move somewhere, but not now and definitely not here at the moment. Manchester United is clearly looking for a striker, and in the striker position, it looks like we could potentially be going for one of two players. And the first player I want to talk about is Edinson Cavani, the 33-year-old. That is, I believe, a free agent, and we are looking to sign him for Manchester United as, I would assume, a backup striker. Now, the big thing with Edinson Cavani is that he's been linked to us for so many years, and so many times that we could have got Cavani, he never came. So what's the difference here? Why would Cavani decide to come to Manchester United when he's been linked for us for so long and he still decided not to give our club a chance? At the end of the day, this guy is on the decline. I believe he's injured. He's injured a lot, and I have no complaints that he won't be a good player. In my opinion, at the backup striker role, potentially starting on some occasions, Cavani can do very well for us. But this is not the future of Manchester United that we're looking at. You're looking at backup strikers that could potentially compete with the strikers we have now. Edinson Cavani just is not that. He's not a player that will compete with Martial for years to come. If anything, he'll compete with him for 1 or 2 seasons and then he is going to bow out and take his money and go. Manchester United should not be looking at making that mistake again. We can't be looking at players that have been injured and actually desperate just to take the money to come here. And that's where I think Manchester United's weaknesses are at. Is throughout this entire transfer window, we seem to be missing the point of what Manchester United's all about. Cavani is definitely representation of that. I like the player. He would do well for Manchester United. And of course, I would support him if he comes. But he's not the right type of signing in my eyes. And that will never, ever, ever go away. And of course, it's one of our rivals that seems to come into play here. And of course, we're going to be talking about N'Golo Kante, Chelsea's CDM that has done extremely well for Chelsea for so many years. But since they are looking for changes in their squad, they've already made so many drastic signings and they're looking to get a few of the players that they believe is not part of the future out. and N'Golo Kante could be one of them. Now, Frank Lampard loves N'Golo Kante. There's no secret about that. But obviously, the guy is getting up there in age, and they are looking for a player like Declan Rice that could potentially take reins of that CDM position for the next generation of Chelsea talent. And N'Golo Kante just can't really provide that at the moment. He's in his prime now, but at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, Kante is not Chelsea's future. So in the end, will Manchester United go for N'Golo Kante in this transfer window? Big fat no. Don't believe in this. This is not true. I understand people love N'Golo Kante. I love N'Golo Kante. Like, he's definitely my favorite player at Chelsea, and he's one of my favorite players in the Premier League in general. He is just genuinely a nice guy, and he plays with everything that he has. He's the engine. He would fit very well with Pogba. You're going to have the entire French team basically come here at one point. So N'Golo Kante has been linked to Manchester United. If this was ever going to happen, it's next summer, or even in 2 summers' time, when he's a lot cheaper than what he is now. And I just don't see Chelsea getting rid of someone that adds a lot of squad depth to their roster, whether he's starting or not. So the answer, for my opinion, is no. If you guys are thinking Kante's coming to Manchester United, I think you should look elsewhere until next year. And maybe if it does come up again, then we can have a discussion. But not this time, not with 3 days left. We are going to take our transfer talks to Spain and the striker position, and it goes by the name of Jokic. Now, Real Madrid could potentially look to get this player out on loan to get some game time, and Manchester United looks to be the target of that loan. Of course, we are extremely interested in this deal, in my opinion. However, there is not enough time, in my opinion, to get this deal done. I know a loan move should be fairly easier to accomplish than a permanent transfer, but Manchester United are looking at so many targets. I think a striker is going to be the absolute last thing they look for. At the end of the day, Manchester United will stick with Igalo. There's no point having 2 loan strikers unless we terminate one of them. And I know Igalo is not that great at the moment, but Manchester United are not going to go back on extending his loan deal just to end up loaning somebody else. It doesn't make sense to me. And if it's a permanent deal, this would make a lot more sense. But on a loan, I don't think Manchester United will go for that unless it's the absolute desperate last option to make fans happy. That's the only way I see this happening, and I just don't see it happening at this time. The striker position will remain exactly the same. And whatever you guys think about that, I personally think it needs a little bit of a shift, a little bit of a movement. But until we actually get someone, I refuse to believe Manchester United are going to go for a striker. Another player that looks like he is on his way out of the club is Dan James. Dan James has been linked to a permanent and loan move to Leeds. Leeds are absolutely desperate to get a winger into their club, and Manchester United might have the winger that Leeds could definitely want. Now, Leeds have been linked to Dan James well before he joined Manchester United, but we swooped in and took that deal. Dan James, in my opinion, is a very good young prospect, but at the moment, he is not really flourishing at Manchester United. So there could be a potential move to Leeds that could help benefit his career. Now, of course, people are linking the Dan James move to getting Jadon Sancho. If that's the case, and I truly don't believe it's the case, but if that is the case, then we have a big dilemma on our hands. But I do think the ultimate decision is that we need to get Dan James on a permanent deal to Leeds if Jadon Sancho will come in, just because of the fact that he will help us pay for it. And not only that, Jadon Sancho would be that right wing in the future that everybody thinks Dan James will be. So that makes sense, but I just don't see Jadon Sancho or Dan James. One of them has to go. I don't see that scenario. In my opinion, what I believe at this moment, if Dan James is going to go, which I don't believe he should, he needs to go out on loan. He's going to get game time well and truly on loan. And Leeds will probably know what to do, because Leeds know what to do with their attacking players. Leeds have been one of the better attacking teams in the Prem, and they've been looking for Dan James for a long time. Clearly, Dan James fits the system that they want to play. So get Dan James to Leeds on loan, let him flourish, let him succeed, and maybe he'll come back a completely different player to Manchester United and ready to take everything that he's learned and apply it to this team. And that's all we can ask for a young player, man, to grow and to learn. And Dan James, wherever it is, as long as he gets better, that's all that matters in my eyes. This is going to be the last one to talk about, and I know I probably missed a bit, but There's been a lot to talk about, and at the moment I just can't think of anybody else except for this guy. The last person I want to talk about is Barcelona's right winger Ousmane Dembélé, who is looking to join Manchester United either on a loan and potentially now even a permanent deal. There's a lot to talk about with this story, and of course it's heated up, and that's why I've left it last in this video. So let's discuss Ousmane Dembélé. Ousmane Dembélé is obviously Barcelona's biggest signing, I believe, 135 million, right winger. At the moment, I believe he is 23 years of age. He's been injured for nearly 2 seasons now, and he's looking to come to Manchester United to rejuvenate his career and overall have a fresh start. Now, in saying that, there has been big talks and big rumours that Manchester United and Ousmane Dembélé have discussed a deal earlier in this transfer window, and Ousmane Dembélé refused, and also refused to join Liverpool at the same time. So that's the first big red flag at the moment, but we'll get to it. Obviously, Manchester United have been trying to convince Ousmane Dembélé for a few weeks now, and with the help of Paul Pogba, Ousmane Dembélé has decided to switch his stance and say that he would like to join Manchester United on a permanent deal and on a loan, depending on what Manchester United are trying to do. Now, with Ousmane Dembélé, of course, being injured for 2 years is a big thing, and injuries will play a part. Now, injuries, in my opinion, is something that can be rectified if you properly decide to take over your life and actually perform like a footballer, behave like a footballer, work hard, build those muscles up, and let's see how it goes. Because injuries, as much as people want to say that injury-prone players can't get better, there is signs of that. Of course, you have Phil Jones is the perfect example, but you do have other players that are world beaters that injuries cut their careers short. It's too early to tell if that is going to be Ousmane Dembélé or not. I know being injured for 2 years, nearly 3 years, is a big red flag, but it's too young to tell in my opinion. If this guy was 26, 27 and he's been injured for 2 years, you can well and truly say his career is probably not going to be a very positive one. So injuries for me is not the big concern. The big concern for me is that Ousmane Dembélé did not want to be here. I don't want my club trying to desperately beg for a player to join, whether it's offering them more money, whether it's offering any sort of accessories or anything like that, advantages for them to all of a sudden, yeah, I want to come to Manchester United. I don't want Paul Pogba calling up Ousmane Dembélé and begging him to come to Manchester United. The reality is, and I know I'm not the one that's in the transfer world talking to all these players and trying to get them to come to Manchester United, but the reality is, this club is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Manchester United. We are one of the biggest clubs in the world. Whether we suck at transfers for the rest of our lives or whether we get everybody that we want and whether we succeed or fail, we are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and nothing is going to change that. You can have rival fans calling us a small club. At the end of the day, we are the biggest club in the world. Maybe not success-wise at the moment, but every other circumstance, we are the biggest club. It's as simple as that. We just are. And people that don't support this club do not understand that. So, when we're the biggest club in the world and Ousmane Dembélé is rejecting to come to this club, the conversation should have ended there. I don't want a player that does not want to be here. I say this with every sport, and Manchester United is not exempt. If a player does not want to be here, then he should not be here. I don't care if you get rid of him for free. I don't care if you pay him to leave. Get him out. Manchester United is not a charity. It's not a welcome to retirement home like Arsenal. It's not a club where we sit back and we beg people to come here. We have so many options elsewhere besides Ousmane Dembélé that could possibly do a better job. We still have Jadon Sancho that wants to actually come here, and he's wanted to come here nearly for 6 months. Someone that doesn't want to come here is something we should not be pursuing. I don't want another money merchant. I don't want someone that's coming here just because people begged him to come here. I want someone that actually, from the beginning, said, yep, let's get this done. I want to come here. I want to prove myself, and I want to play for the best club in the world. And if someone does not have that same mentality, off they go. I don't want them here. It's as simple as that. Now, of course, Ousmane Dembélé has changed his mind and he wants to come now. But it's too late. It's too late. I don't know what they're offering you. I don't know if it's something special that makes you want to come here. But you turned down Manchester United on a loan move. You turned down Manchester United on a permanent deal. When we were trying to sign you from Dortmund a few years back, and people forget that. When he was in Dortmund, we were trying to sign him. He turned us down there too. Let's face it, guys. Ousmane Dembélé does not want to come here. So why are we persisting on getting this deal done? Why are we persisting on it? If he does come, look, I already said, I'm not bothered about the injuries. I truly believe injuries can be rectified. I'm not bothered about a trash attitude. A trash attitude can be rectified. I've seen that firsthand. What I'm worried about is someone that doesn't want to be here. And something like that, maybe when they come, their mood will change. But the reality is, he's going to come into this Manchester United team from the very beginning not wanting to be here. Deep inside, he does not want to be here. That is the concern. That is my frustration. And that's why if Manchester United persists on this deal, people will go crazy. Because we are yet again getting a player that never wanted to be here. That's just the way that it is. It's the way that it is. I don't care what he's done at Barca. I don't care if he's the biggest flop in the world. The fact is, this flop doesn't want to be here. That's my issue. Literally, that's it. And we'll wait and see what Manchester United do with that. I had to vent that out because I've been talking about it with friends and family for a long time, but I wanted to get this out publicly. We should not be getting players that don't want to be here. It's not hard to comprehend. It really isn't. I can't believe we're the club that's begging for someone that doesn't want to come here. I'd prefer nothing in reality, because at the end of the day, I know that Mason Greenwood will play in the right wing if we get nothing, and I know Mason Greenwood wants to be here. I know Dan James wants to be here. I know Marcus Rashford wants to be here. At the end of the day, I know these players want to be here. So why would I sacrifice all of that for someone that doesn't? If you can answer that to me, fair enough. That's the end of this video. I've ranted and I apologize. This video will be long because of that rant and I do apologize. But thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Let me know in the comments below. Out of all these things that I've talked about, which one are you the most excited for? Obviously, Jadon Sancho will be the first one in this video, so you will obviously be talking about him. But if there's anything else that you're looking forward to getting for Manchester United, please let me know in the comments below. That goes for transfers and on the way out as well. Have a wonderful day. Take care and peace.